Hello, my friend, and welcome back to the Modern Cavewoman Show. So, let's talk about the law of attraction because it's the foundation for a lot of coaches' work to varying degrees. And they always frame it positively with gratitude practices and intention setting that is always for the highest good of all, right? Very positive, very love and light, which I love. And then the next step in the equation is to take action, take aligned action. And you must do this to prove that it's actually what you want, that you're not just throwing wishes in the wishing well and walking away, right? And further, you must maintain your faith that it's coming and keep taking action toward it until it gets here. I love it all. I love the positivity. I love the dedication to your heart's desires. I love the intention of having something be for the highest good of all, right? You know, I'm all about good things in the world. If you've been in my world for a millisecond, you know I'm all about helping people and loving each other and creating good things that we want to see in our world. Here's where I get caught up though. And by the way, if you're not terribly familiar with law of attraction, one resource you can look for, it's an old, very popular one that came out years and years ago called The Secret. There's a book and a movie, and you can probably find them free online in some form, really easy. And of course, a quick internet search, you're going to find lots and lots of resources that can describe the law of attraction for you, much better than I probably could with my concept of it. But in any case, so here's where I'm getting caught up. So, the law of attraction, in a nutshell, my understanding of it is that it's based on the principle of everything being energy vibrating at a different frequency. And the work that you do within this formula is to change your energetic vibration in order to be a match for the things you want, for the things you want to call into your life. Beautiful ideas, right? Like wonderful. We all want to be our best self and attract the best things into our life. So the thing is, for me anyway, there are so many examples in history and currently, but I'm not trying to traumatize anyone, so let's talk about ancient history of people getting what they want in atrocious ways through violence, unethical, and immoral ways. All the wealth and power by conquering other civilizations, stealing, murdering, all kinds of just horrific things. And obviously, they were energetically aligned to it. They were a match for those atrocities. But there's a big difference between an intention of for the highest good and an intention of do no harm. And I think that's where I get caught up because, for just a couple examples, we can look at like ancient Rome, thousands of years ago, right? Conquering neighboring countries in order to amass mind-boggling wealth and power. Or religious crusades, going out and literally obliterating any civilization that wouldn't convert to that religion and taking their resources and continuing on in the quest to rule the world, basically. So, were these leaders waking up every day and planning to commit genocide for the highest good of all? They certainly gave their armies the motivation of fighting with a higher purpose, right? A higher calling for the greater good. So I feel like on some level, they must have felt like they were righteous in the actions they were taking and in the goal they were pursuing. But I also have to think that, I mean, on a really basic level, right? That they knew that it wasn't for the highest good for these people they were wiping off the face of the earth in order to just take their resources and move on, right? Like they had to see the murder and stealing and all the destruction was not for the highest good of the people that they were murdering, stealing from, and destroying. So maybe you can tell me how this is landing. Tell me in the comments what you're thinking, because I know this is kind of a really dark and negative kind of way to talk about the law of attraction and manifesting, but I feel like it's really important. And of course, I can't tell you for sure, what these leaders were thinking, what their actual motivation was or whatever. I can only tell you that what the history books told me, right? That there was always, especially with like the Crusades, there was this huge concept of higher calling. We saw it, in the witch trials, right? There were often people who were thinking we have to do these witch trials and kill these women for their own good. Like there was a concept of higher purpose in it. And it was obviously not for these poor women, right, to be murdered senselessly and ridiculously, being blamed for things that weren't even true, and on and on. So let's get back to my point though. So, this is what I think about. When I hear someone teaching the law of attraction or using other language, right? They don't all call it the law of attraction. They talk about energetic alignment and being a vibrational match, all that kind of language. I feel like there is such an important distinction that teachers of manifesting have a responsibility to address around the intention and what aligned action actually means. Because these are two phrases that I think across the board, all of these teachers and coaches use. And I'm telling you, every single coach that I have ever encountered teaches this principle in some way, whether it's a business coach, a health coach, a love coach, all of them. And I think it's a good foundation to build on because obviously it also has a lot of common sense, right? So I'm going to go on a little tangent here for a second. But the common sense of it is you decide what you want, right? You set your intention, what you intend to do, be, have in your life, and you state it in a way that feels good to you, right? And this energetic alignment being a match for the things you want, of course, that makes sense. Like, we're not going to go out and get something that we don't want or that we don't believe we can or should have, right? We're only going to do what we want to do for the things that we want to have, be, or do. So, then, of course, the next part of the formula, this aligned action concept, I don't really believe it's so that you can prove to the powers that be that you're really serious. I believe that it's you decided what you want and now you take some action to actually reach out and grab it, right? You decide you want that new job. You want a better house. You want a great vacation, right? And sure, it's possible that you could just say this to the universe or the powers that be and be like, oh, thank you so much. I can just feel what it's going to be like to have this amazing job that's going to support my family and all the things we want to do. And, for the highest good of all. I get it. And sure, someone could just call you the next day, answer the phone, and it's like, hey, do you want this job? Yeah, great. Okay, it's done. But chances are, and this is just my logic speaking, if you want a new job, you want that job, you probably want to tell someone you want it. You might want to send an application in, deliver your resume to the hiring manager, something, right? And then, of course, to keep going towards what you want, because we don't always get a great big bold yes first off. Sometimes we do, but not always, right? So there's the formula, right? We're setting our intention for the thing we want to be, do, or have. We're taking this aligned action, which is just simple logic. You got to put it out there, reach for the thing, you got to pick it up off the ground, right? And then to frame it with gratitude and hope for the good, right? I love it, the whole thing. But here's the distinction that I would really like to see bloom more within this concept is an intention of do no harm rather than for the highest good to maintain what they call clean energy around it. It sounds good, but I think, like I've pointed out, and you can probably think of many, many instances of people that you've even come across on Facebook who believe they are doing something for the benefit of the people who read their post, and they're just not open to seeing what kind of pain they might be causing. Think about that for a minute. Have you ever read a post from someone and it hurt your feelings? It made you feel bad. Someone you know and love who holds a value that goes directly against something that's very precious to you. Maybe you've ever had this happen. And they may very well have the intention of the highest good for all concerned, but it's not for your highest good because it's tearing you down and it's hurting you, probably for no real reason. Just because we all have our stories, right? We all grow up learning different things and thinking different things are right and wrong. And you can look across different cultures where certain things are considered wrong in one culture and completely valid in another. And I'm not going to go into a big philosophy about it, but the truth is that exists, right? Differing opinions exist. We all know it. And the truth is negotiable in a lot of ways. So, back to my point, I'm just going to close this up as quickly as I can now because I feel like I really did go on my good rant. Now, I'm not telling you not to learn about manifesting, just to be clear, and the law of attraction and how to use it to better your life and the lives of the people you care about. I think it's a good thing. I'm glad I learned about manifesting. I'm glad that someone gave me this formula. And I think it's obviously a good thing. It obviously works, or it wouldn't be so popular. So I'm not at all discouraging you around it. I just personally feel a responsibility to point out that there are two sides to every coin. And I appreciate teachers framing it in a loving, positive way. I just see this gap in the language that could be really important, could be very significant, right? So, like I've said, because historically there are so many instances where someone felt that a certain sacrifice was acceptable for the higher good. And I just have to wonder whose greater good? Was that really true? And of course, we can't debate it because there's infinite possibilities. So I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to go into personally in my corner of the world as we're looking to make changes in the world that we want to see. I'd really just like to see more of this language around intention setting in the formula of do no harm rather than something that's a very negotiable opinion of what is in the highest good. Does that make sense? The end. So tell me your thoughts in the comments about this. And I really hope you have a beautiful week. I hope you manifest all the good things you want without causing any harm. Okay? Mwah. So let me know in the comments what you think. I'd love to hear your opinion on this. And like I said, I would love to see an intention of do no harm over a negotiable opinion of what is for the highest good. So have a beautiful week. Talk to you again soon.